this episode of Quanta Talks, we're speaking to Ashley Campbell, Principal Consultant in our Data Centre team. Our Data Centre division is the newest in the business. Originally grown by Adam Shormerton, now the USA Country Manager, and now headed up by Nathan Mann. Ashley talks all things data centre, including locations to keep an eye on and predictions for 2023. Hi Ash, we're here to talk about recruiting in the data centres. Introduce yourself and what you do at Quanta and a bit about you and your team.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here and thank you for letting me do this. So my name is Ashley Campbell. I've been at Quanta since 2019, at the start of 2019. Joined originally in the life sciences division, however, was given the opportunity to switch to data centers in the summer of last year and made the switch in September. Really enjoying it so far. It's a great team we've got there. They're doing some amazing things, and the task and goal for me is just to try and do the same great work that they're doing and improve anywhere I can. Prior to that, my total recruitment experience is coming up to its 12th anniversary. So my main background was in tech, with a little stint in construction engineering as well in between that.
Lovely, happy anniversary. And you must have been about 10 years old when you started recruitment, is that right?
Well, if you say that, it's the only thing that's not changed is the hairline, unfortunately, in that time. But all things considered, yeah, it's amazing how things have changed, how different technology has come into it. LinkedIn was this fancy new tool that people who weren't bored of job boards yet were using, and now, we're recording podcasts, so it's full circle is an absolute understatement, but still going strong, 12 years and still enjoying things.
Yeah, and technology's moving quicker than I can keep up with. Cool, so how is the industry at the moment, the data centre industry, and are we seeing an increase in projects?
Do you know what, if I had to put one word to it, it's a bit cliche, but it's booming. The industry is absolutely alive with projects, both existing, new projects in the pipeline with different companies that we work with. It's genuinely, I couldn't have picked a better time to join this team and get involved in this industry. The fun thing for me is seeing the new locations that are challenging the Big Four. So the Big Four for us has been Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, and Paris. That's also the Big Four for the industry as a whole. But seeing projects that we're supporting for places like Brussels, Madrid, I know Lisbon's around the corner, and also the increase of work in the US to really join in the adventure that the life sciences team have been having as well. One of the big scarier news and what we are seeing is the project cancellations from Meta. But that hasn't been the overall story, and if anything, their competitors and our clients have actually benefited from these in terms of having access to new contractors and new permanent staff as well.
Tell me more about that project cancellation with Meta.
It's something that really come up when we were looking at major new areas for us in sort of end of 22, 23 and beyond. Meta's Facebook sites in Denmark, being one area, was definitely a location where we were looking to do more. We've got a great track record as a company in Denmark across our life sciences and renewable division, so it only felt right that we went along for the ride in data as well. To hear that these projects have been cancelled, and I think Facebook, Meta, really are sort of seeing wider cuts as part of their business as a whole, and I think it's more a reflection of data centers getting caught up in that rather than an actual industry shift. Considering the construction of data centers that happened through the pandemic, and even in times where we're talking about recession and other things, projects on a wider scale aren't slowing down. But I guess only really the people at Meta will give us the true story for data centers. But really large projects that we're planning to host a lot of people, a lot of different companies feeding into that, all sort of somewhat left in the lurch now. We're seeing a lot of great people who are immediately available that we wouldn't have dreamt to have been able to introduce to our clients before this.
So good news for other clients, really, in that respect.
It is. It's it's an aggressive industry, and similarly to life sciences, anytime that there's cuts in one area, there are always new homes for these people. So I think the main thing is for us is to make sure, as a supplier of talent, to make sure that we're ahead of the game, to make sure that we're as visible and as available as possible. Ultimately, there are opportunities out there for these guys, which, for me is a huge positive that we can help these people as well.
Excellent. You said also about the big four, that there's other new locations, meaning, like you said, Lisbon. Does that mean more exciting business trips for you guys?
It is, yeah. I must say, I'm looking forward to some warmer climates when I go. Amsterdam at Christmas time, whilst it's a lovely place to visit, isn't the warmest. I'd be lying if I said that Madrid and Lisbon's got a nice ring to it, and I dare say I'm not going to be short of people putting their hand up to come with me on these trips as well. You'd be amazed how, there was a lot of hesitation when people saw the temperatures at Amsterdam, but, more importantly than that, it's the locations are exciting for people that are used to bouncing around the same areas. We get access to a lot of CVs for people in this industry, and those 4 locations, you'd be stunned if they didn't have at least 3 of them on there. For us, we're planning on getting out as much as possible. There's a lot of great industry events happening. There's one in Madrid later this year that I think at least some of us in the team are looking to get to as well. We're looking to make a big splash in these new locations.
You hear a lot about trends around data centers. We were hearing about low energy, low latency data centers. What trends have you seen?
I think power consumption and water wastage are the 2 big areas that we're seeing people innovating. When we talk about edge technology, when we talk about companies actively being able to create low power, data centers essentially that don't rely on being right in the middle of the grid in the hotter areas. These are going to be the big stories, I think, moving forward. Being able to, run sizable data centers of whatever particular megawatt they may be. That's going to be where, I see there being a movement in. Atlas Edge being one where they really are challenging the norm in terms of what it takes to put together a data center. They've been very aggressive in acquiring different companies, and have really become this big machine in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. Really focusing on being able to run these data centers without being a drain on local resource, because even to the point of BBC Panorama documentaries, as last night, talking about the downsides of data centers, what they mean to different areas. You've only got to look in Ireland, and there's big public force against any new data centers, and it's really a battle in terms of governments wanting to attract this investment that comes with new developments, constructions of these things, versus the public having to deal with that. It's very different from when we're talking about, say, a tech company opening a new hub, because ultimately it's business, it's investment. With data centers, there's a lot of drain there. Also water wastage being another, and I'm seeing a lot of companies that are feeding into the data center industry that are able to have new creative ways, looking at the sharing of water between energy companies that use warm water to produce steam, data centers that want the cold water from them to be able to keep their data centers cool. Governments are stepping in a lot more. So we're seeing in the Nordic region subsidies and taxes, affecting where companies are focusing the data centers they want to build and really work on. So we're seeing Sweden, put on taxes for companies that want to construct data centers, but we're also seeing companies like Finland creating actually, tax breaks for companies that want to construct these things. So all things considered, there's the competitive advantage to also mix in with the public to and fro's on that. And, similar to the US, obviously they can operate on a state-by-state basis. We're seeing a lot of competitive nature from them. Different states are creating tax breaks, others are actually, enforcing higher taxes on that. So it's for us, we just have to make sure we're following not just the technology, but the investment, and make sure that we're just ahead of the game and understanding, the different skills that each of these individual projects may need.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So how would it affect recruitment in that area? But I guess you just need to keep on top of the trends and what's happening. And I know obviously the green thing is a big one for data centers at the moment, so that's good to hear. In regards to recruiting, how is the market at the moment for data centers?
Again, I hate using these cliche terms, but the market is strong. What we're seeing is candidates who are able to work across the entirety of the EU, or on the other side of the pond, are flexible working across the US, will not be short on opportunities. We're seeing a lot of companies who, quite frankly, when we're talking about the owner operators that we work with, they have multiple sites across EMEA, US, whatever it may be. Having, contractors who are completely flexible, and I understand people have different, commitments at home, but flexibility will gain you more opportunity. But what we're not seeing is scenarios where if we have good people that are available and interested in new things, we're not short on opportunities. And the amount of cross-fertilization we're seeing, within the team, if we have a good person, we're actually able to multiply out their opportunities at least 3 to 5 times. I mentioned the EU and US. One thing is to say closer to home, the UK is not slowing down in this as well. So, Brits who don't have access to the wider European markets, 100%, we've got amazing opportunities for them as well.
Excellent. It's good to hear that we've got a lot of opportunities out there and the market is strong. Any challenges in the market at the moment?
I think it's just where, as we grow as a team, we are the fastest growing division within Quanta. That's exciting to see. However, the challenges that come with that is that we're not relying on years and years of our network being ready to put people into different projects. So I would say, whilst I dare say it may not be a wider gap in the market, project managers with an electrical background would be one example. If people with that experience and have also worked in data centers, for us, there's a gap. For the challenge for me, the team, and the wider organization is to make sure that we're unearthing these, because, we're not struggling in some areas. Good project managers, we're doing really well with. We're always interested in speaking with more, but, we're doing great there. Mechanical and electrical engineers, again, doing fantastic. For me, the electrical background, with leadership and project management skills, I would definitely be an area where we need to do more, and we need to be speaking with more people.
So, are there transferable skills from other industries? So where would we see these candidates switch from?
So one thing that's been interesting, especially coming over from the life sciences team into the data team, has been how many candidates that we've worked with, how many contractors I've literally worked with that are very relevant for my new client bases. So project managers that have come from a mechanical or electrical background, general engineers in the same topics as well, immediately relevant. And one thing that the data center community has said about those is the fact that they're so heavily regulated, especially the biopharma companies that we work with. They're so heavily regulated that the standards that they just have ingrained in them and built in that they bring to a data center project immediately puts them over and above what they'd have if they got people from different industries. But no, it's good to see, because working with data center companies and letting them know that we work across renewable energy, different sectors within that, across different life sciences sectors, it's great to hear that they're very interested in profiles from that. So considering our 3 core areas being relevant for data center, it's only a benefit to us and the people in our network, that go beyond who we've worked with in the last few years.
And we've obviously got a lot of candidates in our databases full of people that can be transferred over from different industries. What would you say are your busiest locations?
So currently it's got the quite charming name of FLAP, which is Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam and Paris. As things stand, they're definitely the core areas that we're working with now in terms of multiple clients, both owner-operators and general contractors. However, we're seeing a lot of new locations really come up and compete with those, and it's going to be an exciting year in terms of not just having the same main 4 locations. So we're seeing Madrid be very busy. We're seeing different parts of Germany, Munich and Berlin really ramp up. Belgium becoming the core area as well. So I think the good thing for us is that in terms of having different options for the people we're working with, it's no longer going to be the same 4 locations, the same companies that are built in those locations, but really having that variation. Madrid, Barcelona being another one, Lisbon being a very exciting location as well for us. So definitely going to be some warmer weather trips as the year goes on.
Nice. And how are you working with these clients in your busy locations?
We have the same way of working across all of them. However, there's a select few that have opted and want to take up the option of working with us exclusively. We're really enjoying and we're really finding some great results working with companies in this way. Not only is it just the fact that we get to control a lot more of the process, but also one thing that they're constantly coming back with is just the fact that because we can take the extra time to reference the people that we're sending over in a timely manner, do all the proper background checks, and send over the best 3 to 4 options rather than the first 3, and compare it to a rat race of a company who decides to work with multiple agencies. It really is, we're seeing mutual benefit of that. And I'm not saying that we don't do or we don't try to do the same work with companies who don't work with us this way, but the companies we are working with exclusively are reaping the benefits of that tailored service.
Yeah, it definitely is beneficial for the clients. And like you said, it's sending, it's the best candidate and not just the first. Great. So what are your predictions for 2023 within your team and for the industry in general?
So as far as the team, we've got lofty ambitions. We've got a great team that's going to be continuously expanding. As the newest sort of prong of the Quanta brand, I would say that it's a big push for us to really sort of compete with the renewable energy division from a point of the amount of companies we're working with and the money we're making out of that. So, there's obviously all friendly competition. Everyone loves each other, but, being able to really put some pressure on them would be great. From a more wider industry perspective, I would say, it would come down to the new location. So I think that we're going to see a new location. If I had to put some money on it, I think Madrid is the one that consistently jumps out. But I think we're going to see a new location that really does challenge our 4 core areas at the moment. On top of that, in terms of, following on from life sciences in the US, I can really see our US division really making a big splash this year in terms of the clients we have that want to work with us in the States and new companies that we're speaking to as a result of that as well. So, new locations and lofty ambitions are the 2 big ones for me.
Nice. That's a good motto for 2023. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Ash. It's been really interesting talking to you, and good luck with all things data centre.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this. Great things happening in the team, and really looking forward to what's to come in 23.
Thanks for listening to Quanta Talks. If you would like to speak to us about how we can help you with your data centre project, please see the details in the show notes.